Welcome already on the 5th episode of the PLM Global Green Alliance, talking with PLM related vendors on sustainability. As usually, I'm supported by my green colleague Klaus Brettschneider, and today we have the honor to talk with Aras, who has the following slogan on their website: one sustainable platform for your entire product ecosystem. So let's learn what's behind this slogan. Therefore, I'm happy today that I can introduce Patrick Willemsen, who is the Director of EMEA Technical Community, and Matthias Fohrer, Director of the EMEA Global Alliances, both working for Aras Corporation. So before jumping into Aras Corporation, Patrick, Matthias, can I ask you what is your view on sustainability in your personal life? And I start with Patrick.
Yeah, thank you, Jos, and thank you, Klaus, for having us. I'm a bit excited to be on video, to be honest. So my background, I'm a chemical engineer. So I studied chemical engineering on the University of Twente in the Netherlands, and I synthesized polymers, plastics. I made a combination out of PET and nylon, so polyester amide. I'm not sure if it's being used at the moment, but it was in the 90s. So that was my background. I did some extrusion, I did the injection molding, and then I landed in Switzerland somehow and got caught into software. And that was my, let's say, start into PLM or PDM at that time. And so now I'm the Director of Technology Solutions or Community. And what I'm trying to do with, let's say, potential customers is trying in a proof of concept before we do a project to see if our solution works for them. We do an installation, we set certain targets, and then we start developing something that they can use. We use out of the box, but we also use a modeling engine. And over the last few years, the topic of sustainability became a lot more prominent, and a lot more questions around this. How are we going to solve this? So I did some proof of concepts and projects with companies on that topic, and a lot of those things are around materials, material data, the footprint of materials, chemicals around materials, and so that's where the actual circle closes again into my previous job, basically a chemical engineer.
Exactly, I think you're in the right sweet spot for sustainability.
Yeah.
I think. Matthias, your relation to what you're doing and sustainability.
Yeah, so sustainability and PLM, it's quite interesting looking back on my professional history. When I studied computer sciences, I quite quickly after studying, I came into the area of PLM. So in those days, PLM was rather what we call today mechanical cut, PDM. And in those days, it was, at some point in time, I had a feeling, all this PLM topic is kind of old-fashioned and I need something more innovative. So I started to watch out and joined a German car manufacturer for the topic of connected car. And while dealing with connected car, I learned that, hey, there are some pieces missing in PLM, and there's much more in the overall PLM. So I discovered the comprehensive PLM approach by being a customer on my own. And that was the point when I started to look back and started again to have a look at PLM. And then after that, I joined Aras. And today, I think it's the right decision, because what I see today is with our current economical and social challenges, and with the knowledge how PLM can influence sustainability throughout our customers' market and globally, I think it was a right decision. PLM is not old-fashioned anymore for me. For me, it's more up-to-date than ever.
Yeah, I think I like the fact that you say it's about connected. I mean, that's really the spirit of both sustainability, managing sustainability, and modern PLM, as we also discussed in our Sustera interview, the previous one. So now let's zoom in onto to Aras Corporation. What are the activities inside Aras Corporation to bring sustainability to themselves and their customers? Who takes the lead?
Yeah, let me start on this, Patrick. So Aras is working on several fronts in being more sustainable with our customers and for our customers. So what we are currently doing in sense of in our own efforts is that we are providing kind of a enterprise SaaS platform which makes it much more sustainable to operate systems. Moving PLM to the cloud helps our customers to be more sustainable in operating the system itself. Then, of course, moving our own systems to the cloud and being able to collaborate globally. So we do by ourselves what we expect our customers to do within their PLM. So this is really the effort in transferring the systems and how we as a company start on being sustainable. Of course, on the other hand, we support our customers with our solution in being sustainable. And here we see that that there is not one single point solution. But from what we see, sustainable circular economy is a team effort, which goes through all the life cycle and through all the customers' ecosystems. I think that's important. And at the end, we really need what we call the full digital thread across company borders, and that's what we enable our customers to do to maintain the sustainability information and to enable circular economy by being aware of what is used in the product, how did it change during the life cycle, and what can be pulled out of it to follow a cradle-to-cradle approach at the end.
Okay, I have two comments on questions on your points. You mentioned we are moving PLM to the cloud as part of a sustainability effort. Some people say, well, the cloud is also energy, it's only on another place. Do you have any kind of measurements or targets that you say, here we can demonstrate we are sustainable? Digitalization is a benefit, we think, but some people think also it comes with a cost. Is it something you see at your customers that those calculations are made?
So maybe I take this, Matthias. Not per se in quantitative, that I must admit, but what we see, we have a lot of international customers that have operations all over the globe. And putting a cloud system in a central place where everybody has more or less the same, let's say, access or response time, plus having certain elements of them close to them, makes the overall, let's say, operations, let's say, less energy intensive. Plus, what we also see, if you look at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, there's one, I think it's point 17, where they have these partnership. So a cloud environment for us is has much more connectivity to suppliers, to other cloud systems, than when you have it on-prem. It's typically, if you have it on your own premise, it's much more difficult to connect, whereas cloud systems allow you to exchange information and data much more easily. That's also one factor, I think, which is important for this, let's say, the sustainability topic.
Exactly, that was the message I wanted to hear. I mean, it's about the connected enterprise, and if you're able to connect your suppliers and your partners, then you are, by default, I would say, more efficient. And that was the other point I want to remark, Matthias. You said sustainability is a team effort. I also would like to translate it. Actually, sustainability is systems thinking. It's and the team effort. It's bringing stakeholders together on defining sustainable goals.
It absolutely is, and it is in several dimensions. In the one hand, as you were referring to system thinking, it's connecting domains, connecting design domains, connecting engineering domains from the early ideation through manufacturing till the disassembly. That's one approach. The other dimension for me is connecting throughout the ecosystem. And we had interesting discussions with our customers and partners. And I recently visited one of our customers, Kramer, who really was pointing out and emphasizing that their sustainability effort is also a big cultural effort, supported by a proper open integrated PLM platform which integrates all the suppliers. But in addition to that, it's really also kind of a cultural change in making the suppliers sharing sustainability data with them, because at the end that's what they need, and that's really the foundation for it. And we support Kramer by really delivering this end-to-end platform, so that they really start from ideation to manufacturing, and the plan is to even go further, to get the data back and forth, and to integrate their suppliers at every single step at the end.
Are there specific functionality you add to your solution to address specific sustainability issues, or is it thinking more we provide a platform where you can collect all the data and then you go from there and use them how you want it?
No. So there are a couple of things. So like Matthias said, in the early phase, in the design phase, you need a lot of information, especially on materials. And on components, for example, electrical components. We have a cooperation with a company called IHS. I believe they now have a new name even, but they have a huge database of electronic components. And with our component engineering application, which ties into that pool of data, into the cloud data, you can select your components, but you can also see what is the REACH compliance, the ROS compliance, what are the, let's say, the chemicals being used, etc., etc. So that type of information can be pulled out of that huge pool of information. Mm-hmm. Secondly, we are also, and this is still in a proof of concept phase, but with a large medical device company, we're working together to tie ANSYS, the ANSYS material database, into Aras Innovator to pull in information on materials, plastics, metals, whatever you can think of let's say materials, is something we tie into our system, because we want to be a information pool, but we cannot manage everything ourselves. We need help from our friends here, otherwise it's going to be difficult to handle that.
Yeah.
And I mean, let me add one thing, perhaps. In addition to that, it really also comes down to pretty classical PLM disciplines like requirements engineering, goal management. It's just a slight change in the type of requirements you are managing. It's a slight change in the type of goals you are managing. But at the end, sustainability relies a lot or managing sustainability relies a lot on what's already there within PLM. You just have to think it in the right direction.
Yeah. I think the biggest challenge for PLM systems is basically these multiple changes. So you have new requirements, and then you figure out you have basically to maintain additional information in the system, but then you have new regulations to come after as well. So I think what we hear from a lot of PLM vendors is that these collaborations between systems and between the supply chain are so important that even systems where you lock down your data are opening up because you have to exchange the information to get something together.
Yeah, and that has always been an Aras philosophy at the end.
I think
I like Patrick's example of IHS, because especially those material component databases, having them online connected is a first learning exercise of a connected enterprise, to be reliable on external data sources and to build your processes on changes or data collection. And the same we will have to do with other material properties.
Correct. And there are so many use cases, sorry Jos, there's so many use cases tied to that. So this whole change impact and processing that change through your organization and the extended organization. So if you what happens a lot in plastics is that something cannot be delivered anymore, or you want to change it because it has a too high impact on the environment. So where have you used it? How have you used it? Can you exchange this for another material that has the same mechanical properties? That's the impact analysis is something that a PLM system can give you, especially Aras, with also reaching out to other systems like ERP or MES or whatever you are connecting to your, let's say, PLM system.
Could we expect from Aras some pre-packaged sustainability connectors? Like you mentioned material databases, probably Granta from ANSYS or...
We expect, yes, and that depends a little bit on how we can answer the use cases at this medical device company, and we have some others in the pipeline. So because finding the right balance between a standard and a specialized connection for that particular customer is something we're looking into. So at least you have the hooks, you have the technology that can help you. How you implement your use cases or user story, whatever you want to call it, is sometimes a little bit specific for each company. But I think we already have a very interesting way of, or a good way to connect our system to other systems. So it's more that the getting the right order of information exchange in place.
So for our active listeners and viewers, how would you differentiate your solutions or your platform to Systera? Because I hear somehow the same messages. We are a platform connecting data, and they do it on Mendix. What are your differentiators?
I must admit, I just saw it this morning. And it was very interesting to see what is happening there. I think our difference is that we are very early in the development stage. So if someone designs a product, we get in very early. We also have the connections to different types of authoring systems, which probably Systera does not have in that extent. So we are actually pulling data from all of these different sources already from the belly of PLM, be this MCAD, ECAD, be this, let's say, model-based systems engineering to create the architecture, and then add the sauce to it, so the information around your development of products. We are very much focused on a product development process, and that's probably the difference.
Exactly. I think when I asked the questions, I asked maybe to compare apples and pears, because you have the PLM background and sustainability is part of it, where Systera is only focusing on sustainability data and connecting data sources, which can be a PLM system.
Well, exactly. I can imagine having that as one of the connectors, right? So that we push information to it or get information from them to merge again with the product data. We cannot do it alone. It's not possible, I think.
But as you pointed out, that this is completely correct. So we deliver really the integrated platform. So a full PLM platform with the, how we call it, low-code capability to also adapt. And I think that's the main differentiation. So it's one integrated platform and not an add-on solution at the end.
No.
So now this part of the interview always goes about what happens in the field. How active are your customers on sustainability? What do you see them asking for, and where can you help them, or do you need to educate them even maybe?
Yeah, that's a quite interesting question. I mean, I just told a little bit the story about our customer Grammar, who is very active in this area. But overall spoken, so we had a study beginning of this year or late last year, which was called From Sustainability to Digitization Challenges 2022. And out of this study, within our existing customer base, we learned that for about 70% sustainability is a very important topic. And looking out to the field, I see this number even increasing. as we are expecting even more legislative regulation, so that the EU Corporate Sustainability Directive, for example, will even put also on the SMB customers a lot more pressure in dealing with sustainability. So what we see is there is already a lot of traction for large customers, and I think this will even increase to the SMB market.
Yeah. And then from that study, we also created some advice, so white paper on how companies can use the PLM platform to address the sustainability topic, and we got 5 let's say points that we wanted to bring up. First of all, for example, you need to start small. So with our platform, with the low-code platform, you can rapidly, and that's a little bit in comparison with what you talked about, Jos, as well, quickly creating a solution based on your data model, based on your processes, and add this to your PLM system. So start small in a certain product area. And like we already said, you cannot do it alone. It's something you have to do with partners, with your suppliers, with data sources like ANSYS, like IHS. And we really believe that, let's say, data is the be all and end all of a circular economy. If you don't know your data, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know what you have, you cannot change it. So that's a system of records, and then let's say beyond that, even in the processes, you need to have you need to have an overview. And then you can start also think about, okay, is our business model still right? Is it still what we think is good for the customers, is good for the planet, is sustainable? So rethinking data models, and that also means that your data management or your processes inside a PLM system, you need to think about that. How are you going to change that? And that's why I think our platform, because it's so flexible, with a lot of standardized, let's say, applications, you can address that challenge. I think that's our main message.
I think I like the first point, starting small, because there is no template for success at this moment. Everyone is learning, and then it's better to learn on a small scale and to scale up than to invest full and maybe fail full also.
So what we also see in addition to that is that all this sustainability question in relation to PLM jeopardizes a little bit the distribution between PLM and ERP, because all these sustainability questions really need a broad end-to-end view, and most of them cannot be answered by simply looking to the ERP system. And so there is a big chance for PLM in the companies, as it just gets a new center of gravity.
Exactly. I mean, in the interview we had with Darren West from SAP, he said we can measure the impact of manufacturing and production, but 80% of the emissions are defined in the design phase. So that's where it happens. Yeah. Klaus, you had a point?
I forgot my point. No, I think what I see, or what is challenging is, if you work with customers and build up these data models or digital twins or however you want to call it, everyone starts in with this idea, oh yeah, we can support our sustainability goals and we can collect all these data. But when you then sit in the room and really try to build this model, they all fall back in this old behavior. And you actually, the consultant has to bring in, again, the reminder, let's think also about sustainability and not only put your specification in a document, but please put your specification in a database so that we can use it afterwards. Yeah. I think that's always a challenge, and I assume that's something you see with your customers as well.
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, I made a note on exactly that. We have a saying in Dutch, don't get old cows out of the ditch. So you let the past be the past. But when I started in the PLM with Eichner and Partner in the 1990s, we always talked about cutting down silos. And somehow, after 25 years, I still see silos, and I still see data in those silos not being used because it's often inside documents, so it's not shareable. It's difficult to share, right?
Yeah.
And this is a data connectivity or data-centric approach where you put document information into data records or into nodes that you can connect, you can reuse, you can see impact. That's something that is missing from my point of view. So I would like to see these old cows out of the ditch and get those silos gone.
And maybe a side Dutch joke. At the moment, we don't see cows anymore because they're inside the stables and they have become part of an agricultural industry.
Yes. Yeah.
Also affecting the environment a lot at the moment. We have the discussion.
Yeah. I think there are more cows in the Netherlands than people, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think the next part is, we are both on this journey, and the question is, what would you advise people that want to learn more? And I know, Patrick, we're going to have a seminar also. I'll let you announce it, where we dive in deeper.
Yeah.
What are the topics that you think our viewers should dive into? Do you have any references to look?
Yeah. Talking about advice to a customer, I would like to underline what Klaus just said. So even though everybody wants to start with dealing sustainability topics, what we see is that there is a lot of guidance needed from external with almost all our customers, and there's a lot of material out there. So also we publish kind of white paper, and just recently we put out the last one to the market, which is about circular economy as a model for the future. So going from such material is a starting point, but at the end I would like to encourage the audience to not do the way by their own. Because, and I think that's important, I said it at the very beginning, and I want to re-emphasize it also here, the way to drive sustainability is a team effort. And it's not only a team effort for dealing within the ecosystems of our customers and of our clients, it's also a team effort of getting there. And make use out of us as we dealing with a lot of customers. We are discussing these questions quite often. So let's just start to share the knowledge and also get sustainable here on the journey to sustainability.
Yeah, and then to add on top of that, as I mentioned, I'm doing a lot of proof of concepts with our existing customers or with potential customers, and I like those things because it's hands-on, it's real, it's there, and we look at those topics, sustainability, very pragmatic. And then you see what is the benefit, what is maybe still not there yet that you need from a functionality perspective, and what is also not defined in your processes. So getting more hands-on experience is, I think, and what also Matthias said, an important piece of the equation.
And actually, to zoom in on two points, Matthias, you mentioned circular economy. I think circular economy, if you want to implement the hardware side, this is typically PLM. This is where PLM fully can support the different flows of materials. And I also recently heard we have to change our mindset in not from do less bad, but do more good. So if we have an improvement mindset instead of a mindset that we are doing all kind of bad things, we kill the enthusiasm of an organization.
And what's really interesting, so it's called product lifecycle management since a long time, but now people or companies really to start in a cycle. I haven't seen this for many years, and now the thinking of life cycle and really the circular thinking starts.
Cycle and connected. I think that are the important words for the future.
Yeah.
Any points from your side, Klaus?
No, good. Thank you.
Okay, then Matthias, Patrick, thanks for your inputs. And as I said, I will be excited to join Patrick in an upcoming webinar, and we will push the link also to this recording. And I look forward to work with you in the future on details of sustainability. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jos.
for having us.
Klaus.